Closure in a case a decade in the making. A jury found Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson guilty today in the murder of Crystal Rogers.
Such a big story in our community. WDRB's Fallon Glick joins us live now from Bowling Green, breaking down an emotional day in court. Fallon, the tears flowed as the verdict came in, and just within the last hour, we have learned that the jury is recommending the maximum punishment.
Yes, Gil and Hayden, that came in about 30 minutes ago, and I want to break that down for you. So Brooks Houck, his murder charge, the jury recommended life in prison. He was also found guilty of tampering with evidence. They gave him the maximum sentence for that to 5 years. Joseph Lawson, conspiracy to commit murder, the highest they could give him was 20 years for that charge. And again, tampering with physical evidence, the highest they could give him 5 years. So a total of 25 years for Joseph Lawson and life in prison for Brooks Houck. Now, once again, I want to make it clear this is the recommended sentence from the jury. Final sentencing will be held in August, but I want to give you a breakdown of what was said to the jury before they came to this conclusion in terms of this sentencing on all these guilty charges. So the defense team for Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson, okay, I want to pause right there, and I want to show you the family of Crystal Rogers. They are walking out the back entrance of the court right now, and we were told from the bailiffs that they did not want to speak to media after such an emotional day, but we want to give you a look. This is the first time they are leaving the courthouse. They've been through a lot of court hearings in the past year and a half, ever since Brooks Houck was charged with murder in the disappearance and murder of Crystal Rogers. As you can see, some of the family members, I'm not sure who we are zoomed in on right now, but they are all kind of hugging each other, shaking hands, and just, you can tell there is a weight off their shoulders. When we were in the courtroom earlier waiting for that verdict to come down, you could tell it was very, very tense in there. People holding hands tightly and then crying once they heard that guilty verdict. But after that, you could really tell that they could take a deep breath knowing that they got the verdict that they wanted from the jury. And so now that they have the recommended sentence from the jury, the maximum sentence, that is also something that they are very happy about. So as we are walking out right here, we have here, hold on one second. I want to see if they, no, okay, the deputy doesn't want us to get close to the family, but we have Sherry Ballard right there in the pink floral top and pink pants. I don't know if Emily, we can get a shot of that, but she is being held by another family member. I don't know if you saw, she had a giant smile on her face. She has told us over the past 10 years that she was going to get justice for her daughter, and that is something that she has fought for tirelessly during the past decade. And so this is kind of a closed chapter for now on this case. We know that there is an appeal process which may or may not happen for Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson. We already know that Steve Lawson's attorneys have filed an appeal in that case. But today is a win for the family of Crystal Rogers. Brooks Houck, her former boyfriend from 10 years ago, has been found guilty on all charges, guilty of murder and guilty of tampering with evidence. And that is really what he told the jury before they went to figure out what they wanted to recommend for their sentence. He said Brooks Houck and Steve and Joseph Lawson, they were extremely close to planning the perfect murder, but the one thing that stopped them from getting that perfect murder is that Crystal's car had a flat tire. Okay, so as we can see here, Emily, these family members are hugging before they get in their car. to drive back to Bardstown, I'm sure. Let's see. You see this man in the blue shirt, that is Crystal Rogers' brother. He is actually the one that found Crystal's car on the side of the Bluegrass Parkway a few days after she disappeared. And so we're just going to take this in for a minute as the family of Crystal Rogers, Sherry Ballard, is in this front passenger seat right here as they drive away after a big win in court here today. So, as Emily is just kind of my photographer, thank you, Emily, for getting those live shots for us. But back to what I was going to talk to you all about at the top, I want to give you an idea of what happened inside the courtroom before the jury made their recommended sentence of maximum penalties for both Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson. I kind of said this earlier, but he said they planned the perfect murder except for that flat tire on Crystal's car. What's interesting is that he also pointed to Rosemary Houck during this point, and he said the plan to get rid of Crystal Rogers actually started in May of 2015. He said it was all Rosemary Houck who asked Danny Singleton, a former employee of Brooks Houck, to get rid of her. And Shane Young, the prosecutor, really said the motive in this case was that they didn't want to lose Eli. He said, if you don't like a person, break up with them. And he said Crystal was a good mom and she did not deserve to be murdered. And her children, Kylie Fenwick, she was the one that went before the jury. She was a witness who gave testimony to the jury during this trial. And she also gave a victim impact statement. And she talked about how she will not have her mom in her life anymore for some of these major, major moments. And then he also, Shane Young, pointed to the fact that no one stepped up in the sentencing to plead for mercy for Brooks Houck. So he told the jury to let that speak volumes. Now, as for Joseph Lawson, he said he really did this only for financial gain in this case, but he says, how callous is that? He said he did this for $50,000, and to put a price on a life, $50,000 for Crystal Rogers' life. He said give him the max penalty and give Brooks Houck the max penalty. And the jury did listen, because Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson both getting the maximum penalty on their murder and tampering charges. Gil, Hayden?
Well, Fallon, thank you so much. And to our viewers at home, this is the epitome of a story that was developing as we're telling it. Fallon is trying to give you a report while there was live news happening at the scene. No one will ever forget that picture of Sherry Ballard walking out of the courthouse, who had doggedly fought for justice for her daughter, Crystal, now getting it with the third conviction almost 10 years to the day after she disappeared.
Highly emotional day in court for the entire Ballard family. For weeks now, they have packed that courtroom several rows deep, wearing pink, Crystal's favorite color, sitting there holding hands, listening to some really, really difficult testimony to hear about what happened to their daughter, mother, sister, cousin, niece, friend. You can tell that this family has had so much support from not only their friends and family, but from the entire community, our entire region, even the state.
Maximum penalty recommended as the sentence for both of the suspects in this case. The question now turns to, will there not only just be appeals, which that is likely, but will there be other murder trials to come after this? Because the prosecutor in this case told the jury in the very beginning that there were unindicted co-conspirators.
Yes.
Right. So that's Rosemary Houck, Brooks Houck's mother, and Nick Houck, Brooks Houck's brother, who was a police officer at the time that Crystal disappeared. So I wonder if we're going to see more murder cases coming in the months ahead.
Something to also signal that, Gilbert, is that we didn't hear from the special prosecutor appointed to this case,
right?
Shane Young, today. You and I have covered many trials over the years.
Right.
After a win of this magnitude, it's highly unusual that a prosecutor would not step out and give comment to the media, but he said he would not be speaking in this case. So it leads you to believe that perhaps more charges could be coming in this case now that these convictions have been secured for all 3 suspects in the murder of Crystal Rogers.
As we said, it's a big story in our community. It is a big news day. We have team coverage all over it, both on air and online. And for more of our complete content, you can go to our website, WDRB.com.